take you live to Trenton now. That is where the Prime Minister is making a defense announcement ahead of next week's budget. He's joined by Deputy Prime Minister Chystia Freeland and National Defense Minister Bill Blair.
It's defense spending before 2026. These investments have allowed us to increase our contributions to NATO, to modernize and bolster NORAD, and to increase our presence in the Indo-Pacific region.
We are supporting our friends in Ukraine as they push back against Putin. Russia's illegal and unjustifiable invasion is a direct attempt to fracture the foundations of democracy and our global rules-based order. It's an attempt to undermine the values and principles that previous generations fought for, subsequent generations benefited from, and that we must secure for this generation of Canadians and the next. This is why we are stepping up once again to preserve and defend the rules-based order that has allowed people around the world to prosper for the better part of the last century, to stand up for Canadian values like freedom, justice, fairness, and peace, to keep Canada and the world safer in a time of increasing difficulty. Now is the time to do even more, and our government is answering the call with this investment. Avant de terminer,
before concluding, I would like to address directly the men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces. The world is changing, but our values as Canadians are not changing.
You, as proud members of the Canadian Armed Forces, show us what service to country, service to the values, ideals, and people of this country means. We need you. The world needs you to continue to step up. And we will be there to give you the support and resources and tools you need to match your courage and your convictions. Merci pour tout ce que vous faites. I will now turn it over to the Deputy Prime Minister. Chystia.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Good morning. Today, it's worth reminding ourselves why Canada steps up, why we devote time and treasure to foreign policy and defense, why we send Canadian soldiers, sailors, aviators, diplomats, aid workers, intelligence officers, doctors, nurses, medics, and engineers into dangerous places, even when Canadian soil is not directly at risk. Force is, of course, always a last resort. But the principled use of force, together with our allies and governed by international law, is part of our history, and it must be part of our future. To have that capacity requires a substantial investment, which our government is making. À maintes reprises, les forces armées canadiennes, que ce soit en Lettonie ou en Nouvelle-Écosse, ont répondu à l'appel
or
des
in
Canadiennes
Nova
et
Scotia
Canadiens.
have responded to Canadians'
C'est
call.
notre tour de
Now,
faire notre part.
it is our turn to do our part for our armed forces.
When I was in Poland with the Prime Minister and the Minister of Defense in February, I had the opportunity to meet members of the Canadian Armed Forces who are training members of the Armed Forces of Ukraine as part of Operation Unifier. They were amazing. I was so moved and inspired by their dedication and their commitment to service, to serving others and to serving Canada. Every day, they are helping democracy triumph over dictatorship. They are proud of their work, as we all should be. So I want to take a moment to say to them and to all members of our Canadian Armed Forces, including the great people who are with us here today, Thank you. Merci beaucoup. We are here for you, just as you are here for us every single day. As a country, we are so proud of you, and we are tremendously grateful for your service. À une époque où les besoins en matière de défense et
At a
de
time
sécurité
when defense and security needs are changing faster than ever,
de nos forces armées
our armed forces members need to have access to the tools, equipment, and resources they need to provide Canada's security and protect its population.
Canada's national interest in investing in a capable, professional, and robust military is clear. If middle powers are not prepared to stand up for, and if necessary, fight for, peace and stability around the world, the rules of the game, including international borders, will be left for the great powers to determine between themselves. That would not be good for the world. And that most certainly would not be good for Canada and Canadians. We cannot be at the mercy.
All right, we've been listening to the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Chystia Freeland. They're making a defense announcement ahead of next week's budget. The National Defense Minister, Bill Blair, there this morning as well. They'll likely be taking questions, so we'll have more on this announcement throughout the day for you.